Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have two challenges which I must admit in the beginning itself. Number one, this is a post-lunch first session. I have already seen the attendance being thinner. The second is that I am speaking in between the lecture of a professor from IIM Ahmedabad, which I graduated many years ago, about 35 years ago I graduated, and then I worked for the government for about 31 years, so I've forgotten all my management. So I have these two challenges, but still I'll try and make it as interesting as possible. As you can see, I am an old man. I'll share some stories with you. Stories of not corporates, but people like you and me who innovated and who did well. So I am going to share those stories. There'll be two product stories and there'll be one service company. So I'll share these three stories with you, time permitting. Maybe I'll have to cut down on some parts of the story. So let's start the first story. Well, I was working with Technology Development Board at that point of time, and Shanta Biotech, Bharat Biotech, and the Serum Institute of India, they came to us for about 25 crores of loan each. And Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was the chairman of the board. And since I'm in Bombay, I should take his name also. Dr. Mashelkar was one of the board members, one of the senior members. Dr. Raghunath Anant Mashelkar, he was the member of the board. And first day when they came for the presentation, their financial figures were very off. The debt equity ratio did not match from the norms, everything was wrong. And the board had a very lukewarm response to their request of loan. Dr. Mashelkar got up, he said, Dr. Kalam, can you give me 15 days time? I'll give my finding and give back the report to the board. Well, after a month, the board met again. And the first reaction Dr. Mashelkar made was that if we are not supporting these companies, I don't think there's any point of my being on this board. I would like to resign. Dr. Kalam, in his usual style, said, cool down, Dr. Mashelkar, sit down. We'll talk about this. Well, their finances were approved. And I must also share with you the vaccine for which they came to us was hepatitis B. Hepatitis B vaccine was what they wanted to produce. And when these companies approached GlaxoSmithKline Beecham was the company who had the technology, and this company refused to give the technologies to Shanta Biotech and Bharat Biotech. They said, in India, can you have class 10,000 clean room? So much of dirt, filth, you can't have this manufacturing facility in India. But they took it upon themselves as the challenge, established that. And it was one of our local labs in Hyderabad which developed that vaccine. And from that day till today. And let me also give you some financial figures. The vaccine cost was 1,600 rupees per dose, and you required 4 shots to be completely vaccinated. So that means expenditure of about 6,000 to 7,000 rupees for complete vaccination. My children were in school at that point of time, and we went for the first vaccine. The entire family had to go, so we paid that amount, and but we never went back for the second and the third and the subsequent doses because it was a pinch on the pocket. Well, when these companies started manufacturing the vaccine, the prices came down to 50 rupees per single dose. 50 rupees per single dose, and it stabilized at about 150 rupees per dose subsequently. And the impact of that investment is that today India is the vaccine capital of the world. We are supplying the vaccine to the entire world. That was the impact of that one decision which was made at that point of time. Well, they were established companies even at that point of time. But now let me tell you a story of a completely new innovator, a completely new innovator. This fellow was studying at Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. He was a biotechnologist by profession. His name is Subramani. He invented artificial flowers made out of paper which looked like real flowers, which smelt like real flowers, and which felt like real flowers. See, he coated the paper with a hygroscopic enzyme by which the paper would absorb moisture from the air, and it will give you that wet, cold feeling which you get like a real flower. Using a nanotech-based spray, the fragrance would last for about 3 years. Intel was our partner in that program. They were doing a global innovation contest in US. So they were our partners, and so they conducted this contest in India. Subramani was a winner. And he was sent to San Francisco for the global competition. Subramani took a bunch of these artificial flowers with him so that he could show it to the jury. When he landed in San Francisco airport, he was with this bunch of flowers, and he was passing through the quarantine and the security. Suddenly these people, the security people there, they shouted, "Hey young man, where are you going? Come here." So he immediately takes out his visa, his invitation letter. He says, "Yes, I have all the papers ready." No, we are not talking about these. Why are you carrying these natural flowers inside US? Don't you know you can't carry any agricultural produce or any animal product inside US? He said, "But these are artificial flowers." They said, "Come on, man. They are looking like real flowers. I can even feel that they are real flowers. They are smelling like real flowers." So the argument went on for about an hour. The quarantine people and the security people, they were not convinced. And they said, "We'll call our botanist." The botanist came, did the dissection, gave a certificate that these are artificial flowers. So he was then let go. But before that, they said, "Please, let's have a photograph together." The customs people with that US customs and quarantine band in front of them with the flowers, and the photographs were taken. He was let go. In the afternoon, since the competition was the next day, he went to a florist to get similar looking flowers so that he could confuse the jury the next day. It was almost the closing time of the shop. And this fellow, the shopkeeper, he said, "Come on, man, you are already taking too much of," he was trying to match the flowers. "You are already taking too much of time. You take your flower and leave." So he said, "No, this is a flower, artificial flower I have, and I'm looking for a similar flower." The next question from the florist was, "How many of these you are carrying?" He said, "Maybe 15, 20 at the most." No, I want 10,000 of these flowers." He could make out that these are artificial flowers. "Tell me the price." He said, $10 a piece. "I'm giving you a post-dated check and the order. You please send it once you return to India." So he collected that and came to the hotel. Next day was the competition. He had a pitch deck of about 50 slides which he had prepared for the competition. Subramani presented just 5 slides in that meeting, the next day in the competition. The first slide was that certificate from the botanist who gave us that these are artificial flowers. Next one was the copy of the order which he had received. Before that, a photograph with all the quarantine people and the customs people. And the next one was that order which he had received from. Third one was the order which he had received from the florist. Fourth one was the copy of the check. And the fifth one was the thank you slide. That's all his presentation was. What do you think would have been the result of that presentation? Subramani was a global winner in that competition, because for any what do you need to establish is the technical feasibility and the economic viability. These are the two things he was able to establish in 5 slides. Subramani today is in the business of enzymes. And his company, he sold a part of his company for about 400 crore rupees to another big unit in Hyderabad. That's his story. Let me come to the last story. This is a story of the services, one even common man. A young engineer, Harjap Singh Man, he just graduated from NIT Silchar. He came to Noida, which is his hometown, after his graduation. So he wanted to do something, कि कुछ करना है, I want to do something. So he was in search of an idea. So he went and met a builder near Delhi. The name of the complex is Shipra Sun City. It has about 15,000 dwelling units, and it had about 20,000 cars. So the first problem which the builder told him was that in my complex, about 7 to 10 cars get stolen every month, and therefore the real estate prices of the complex are not going up. So I'm not getting enough buyers and things like that. So he said, no problems, we can fix that. He had no idea how he's going to fix that. He said, no, tell me immediately, how can you fix that? No, we'll come with a team. I'll come with a team after 15 days and give you a proper presentation. He had no team. So a date was fixed after 15 days. In these 15 days, they found out a very simple technological solution, RFID tags. RFID tags, and if you put one RFID tag on the key, one on the car, and a reader at the gate. If these three match, the gates open automatically. So, is this timer meant for me? Is that so? Okay. So give me 2 minutes more. So he went back and gathered a small team and made the solution also. So he said 500 rupees per car I will charge per month, and this solution will be yours. Deal was done. 20,000 cars into 500 rupees per car per month, a neat and clean business of 1 crore of rupees per month for a startup who is just graduated. Man was jumping with joy. He said, boss, jindagi ban gayi. But his joy was short-lived, as there were 6 resident welfare associations. I'll cut the long story short. Only 3 gates were fitted with the automated system, and the rest 5 gates out of the total 8 gates were still on the manual system. Now people who have not subscribed to the automated system will come to the automated system and will start shouting at the gatekeeper, "Kholta kyun nahi hai? Janta nahi main kaun hu?" This is very common in that part of the country. Ye janta nahi main kaun hu business is very common there. And fight started. So business was in doldrums. The team was in tears. Then they did some internal brainstorming, came up with the idea of employing deaf and dumb people as gatekeepers, जिनको सुनता नहीं है, जो बोल नहीं सकते. They came up with solution, and the people will still come and start shouting. For some time, they employed able-bodied people who would just knock at the window of the car and say that this fellow can't hear, he can't speak, why are you shouting at him? Internally, the fellow is hurt. Overtly, he says, "Kaise logon ko naukri pe rakh lete hain?" But that's, and in the meantime, this fellow is just doing this. Please go. His signal is go to gate number 4. The fellow reluctantly turns back, goes to gate number 4. Now comes the crux of the story. Immediately after that was Diwali. Diwali is a big festival all over India, and Man threw a big party for all these deaf and dumb employees and their family members. This was covered by the media very well. All the media covered this event very well, and the next day what Man did was took photocopies of all this news clippings, jitne bhi original connect kar sakta tha, and put it in each household. By 1st of January in the following year, Diwali normally comes in October, November. So by 1st of November, 18,000 cars out of 20,000 cars had subscribed to the new system. MAN became the largest employer of deaf and dumb people in the world. That was his achievement. What I was not able to put this in a framework because I think Professor Amit Karna will do that for you in few seconds. You can always depend upon your teacher where you lack. Thank you very much. I am here in case you have any questions. I have thousands of such stories because I have worked with innovation for 35 years. But this was just a few which I thought I'll share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mittal. Thank you, sir.